What's going on, family? Listen, I'm excited about another episode of Unscripted. I want you to get ready. This is your boy, Derek L. McRae, coming to you. We're going to talk today about some interesting topics. We're going to make sure we enrich you. We're going to entertain you. We're going to empower you. So get everybody you know, call them and tell them jump in real quick because we're getting ready to turn this thing up. It's going to be unscripted. What's going on, good people? Listen, we are here for another episode of Unscripted. I'm excited. A lot of things are happening. A lot of things are taking place in society right now, man. And not to mention that we're getting ready for Super Bowl weekend this weekend. And so looking forward to seeing the Bengals are playing against the Rams. It's going to be an interesting game dealing with a new quarterback who I think that boy got some potential there. I think he's going to show us a little something there. So it's going to be really exciting. I know LA going to be popping like crazy. All the celebrities and the stars are going to be coming out. And so, unfortunately, my Dallas Cowboys didn't make it to the Super Bowl this year. I don't think we're going to make it next year either because all of our coaches just came back. That means we're going to do the same thing again that we did this year. So we did not actually progress. But nevertheless, I'm still a Dallas diehard fan and, don't talk bad about my team because it'll hurt my feelings. All right. But today I'm really excited. This is the last episode of another season. So we're in season 2, the last episode of season 2. And today I decided to bring on none other than one of my great friends, somebody who's doing some phenomenal things for our communities as well. And I'm just happy to have this young man. This is none other than my financial advisor as well. That's Mr. Claudio Gambin. And so I'm excited to have you today, Claudio, man. Like great things are taking place, man. Man, I've been watching your company for a while and you've been just like killing the game.
Thank you.
You're killing the game, man. And what I love is you always look like it's supposed to happen like that, so nonchalant about it. And I've seen you grow, man. I mean, I've seen the company grow. We've been together for how many years now?
8 years.
8 years. Wow. And so I've seen you grow and the family is lovely, the kids.
Thank you.
I see you out on the fishing boat and I see you, you're catching fish with your shirt off. So I see all those kind of things that you're doing, man. And I'm really loving, I'm digging how you're kind of doing things. But today, Claudia, I wanted to talk, and the name of our show today is Money Talks.
All right.
Money Talks. And I said, let's bring on somebody who really knows money to talk about money talks, because a lot of people, especially in today's time, get into this discussion about money. And a lot of them are talking from what they've heard, not from what they know. And a lot of times they're also speaking from miscommunication. Mm-hmm. So they've been taught wrong principles. They've been taught some risky things to do quick. They don't know the age factors of when you should be doing certain things in your life or how to bring yourself to security. But 3 things, and then I'm gonna jump into this with you. 3 things that I really looked into when I saw you. The first thing that I really found is that you got to find somebody who is knowledgeable. Second thing is you got to find somebody who's also available. And then the third thing, you got to find somebody who's convincing. Because we got a lot of people out here who talking finances that actually are broke. And that's kind of, if it don't work for you, you really can't teach me how to work for me. Yeah. So, when I see you, man, you're really, you have your things together, and I love the whole model of what you're doing, man. And the office being down there on Magnolia now is just a wonderful thing, man. And so I'm really proud of the things that you're doing, man. But talk to us, kind of, Claudio. Tell me a little bit about why you got in and how long you've been in your practice.
Yeah, of course. So I'm a rare bird because this is all I've ever done. Like I literally graduated from college, couldn't find a job. So I was like, okay, I'm going to start a company. Right? Makes a lot of sense. So I've been in the financial space since 2009. So a little bit over 12 years at this point. And we've done all kinds of different things in the financial space. We went from the wealth management side to the insurance space to the consulting side to where we are today, which is a much more holistic advisory consulting practice. But what you said is right. I mean, we've encountered so many different, I wouldn't call them competitors, but colleagues in the industry that maybe preach a message that is biased or one-sided. And then we have a lot of other colleagues that do a great job, but they're not available because you need to have a certain amount of money before they'll sit down with you.
Yeah.
So what I would encourage anybody in this financial conversation is find someone that is at the same phase of life as you. Maybe not so much age, but also experience, right? So if you're just getting into the financial game and you need someone to help you, and maybe you don't have a ton of money to invest yet, it's going to be hard to find a financial guy that works, for 20 years to sit down and take time with you. But there are plenty of young advisors that are hungry, that are good, that mean well and do well and have the access to experience. Maybe they don't have the experience themselves, but they have the access or the apprenticeship to experience that maybe you can benefit from if you're not quite there yet.
Question for you. Now, you said that are good.
Yes.
What kind of qualifies or categorizes one to be a good financial planner or advisor?
The way I would measure them is, if I was in that shoes, I would look for someone that is a well-rounded advisor that isn't necessarily focused on just investments or just insurance or just 401ks. I would look for someone that has a little bit more well-roundedness to them in working in firms that promote planning, not transactions.
Promote planning and not just transactions.
Correct.
That's good. Now, talk a little bit further with that too.
So in planning, you will eventually work with advisors that want to talk through what your future is about, what your goals are, where you are today, where you want to be, and they'll help you create a roadmap to get there, and then build solutions that will help with that roadmap.
Okay.
Versus there are advisors out there that are very transactional based. Like you have $1,000 to invest, here's what you should buy. Not like, what do you really want it to do for you, right?
Yeah.
And I would transcend that to every category, whether you are wealthy, not wealthy yet, right? Whether you have an advisor or don't have an advisor. I think in today's world where everything is being disrupted to be robot, like more AI, or there's more of an algorithm that's taking over, customer service and understanding your client is so much more valuable. So work with a team, work with an advisor that's going to take the time to be there for you as a person, human to human.
That's something I like about you. And every year, I know we have our annuals, just like you have your doctors with your annuals, you got your dentists with your annuals. Every year there's an annual meeting. I know that for sure that we have, and we talk throughout the year, but every year for our annuals is a time that you sit down, and from day one, because when we first started, man, I was broke. There ain't no other way to put it. I was broke. I didn't have any money. I didn't even have a real income coming in.
Me too.
And I didn't get started having money. I got started having a desire to build. And I never forget the first time we sat down, you started, I think first thing you kind of took me to was insurance policies. And you was like, hey, let's talk about what this life look like in the future. You really begin to break down to me the differences in term lives and whole lives, and start putting money in places that really benefit. And what I loved the most about it was you weren't out to make the biggest dollar off of me at the time. You were really out to kind of say, hey, this ain't quite necessary for you yet. Even when it came down to how we secured my kids and everything as well, he was like, this is not quite necessary. And you were very thorough from day one on all of the components that I need to put in place to make sure that I was successful. And even to this day, every year we revisit that plan. Every year we talk about what's shifted and changed in life. We talk about, hey, how's things going? Is that going well? And the other piece that I like is you never, ever sugarcoated it to me. You was like, hey, straight shooter, like, that's not going to be a good move. This right here would be a better move for you. And I love how you said sometimes just so casual, I wouldn't do it, but hey, that's not what I would do. So it's good to have people in your life when it concerns your money that sees beyond your now and will see you in the future. People who have systems to help you grow. And a lot of people are discouraged, man, because they feel like I'm not financially set to be able to grow. Talk to that mindset.
That mindset, and you could probably attest to this, stays with you no matter how big your bank account is, right? Because whether you have 0, whether you have 100, whether you have 1,000,000, that scarcity mindset is part of our society, right? So when it comes to working with an advisor, I think it's really important for you to also understand where the advisor is going. right? You want to hitch your wagon to someone that has big aspirations, right? Because when we've always talked about like, hey, this is what we're doing, this is my vision, this is your vision. We've always been spitballing around like, where are we going to be 5, 10, 15 years from now?
Right.
And I was never shy to share with you like, hey, this is what I want my firm to be.
Right.
Right. So you knew where I was going, and I knew where you wanted to go, and we had parallel tracks. We
good.
both had big aspirations out of life,
That's
right?
good.
So I think whoever you want to work with, you want to follow that. But to answer that question more specifically, the first step to getting out of that mentality of I don't feel like I have it together yet, I'm not ready for that yet, is to take the first step and talk to somebody. Have a conversation with someone that maybe understands financial literacy better than you, so you can better yourself. And then ultimately, that's the game, right? Is just getting a little bit better. And once you understand money better, it'll be easier for you to make more money and manage it better. Because if you don't get a grasp on managing what you have today, when you have more, it won't be easier to manage. It'll actually just make it more difficult.
Wow. So money only helps you. Money will expose you to your inabilities and your abilities.
Yeah, I say that money is the biggest magnifying glass of them all. If you're a great person without money, when you have more money, you'll be a better person. You'll be able to give more and be more charitable. But if you're not charitable without money, you probably won't be charitable with money.
Yeah.
Right? And if you can't manage a little bit, you probably won't be able to manage a lot.
Yeah.
So the disciplines, the decisions, big or small, just move with money.
So when we talk about advising, I want you to give us a few tips. Like give us a few tips that will really help the person who is maybe they messed up some stuff in life right now. What are some principles they need to put into place right now? Because and I'll lead in with this. One of the first things that you were big on with me, because I know when we first started talking, I was like, I want to invest. You was like, you don't have enough money to invest. And it wasn't that I didn't have enough money to put into an account. But no, you really drove me on what that emergency fund is looking like first. So, helping me to prioritize things, because especially the younger generation, it's like they don't have anything a lot of times for 6 months, a year, or they can if they lost a job for 3 months, they are going to be homeless. But yet they're willing to throw their monies directly into an investment right now. Speak to and give us some tips on how to get started. What's that base that you need to start with, and then how can it grow?
I would say is protect first and foremost. Build the foundation, right? You want to make sure you have a really solid ground to grow from. To get there, you need some liquidity, right? You need some money in the savings. And I tell my clients this all the time. For you to be really effective into growing, you need to have a really effective foundational strategy so that if somebody attacks, right? If there's a loss of a job or a premature death or something bad happens, you don't go backwards, right? So if you've got a good emergency fund and you lose your job, you can survive off of that emergency fund without going into debt, right? So first and foremost, protect. Build a good solid foundation. I would say 3 to 6 months of savings. And what I mean of savings is like if you think through your operating reserves, like if you think how much does it cost for me to live a full month, like not eating out, not traveling, like bare bone expenses, right? If it's 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, whatever the number is, times 3, times 6 is what you should probably have. And you should not invest that because it's not designed to make you money. Those dollars' primary job is to get you out of a bad situation.
Gotcha.
Once you have that solid foundation and you want the next dollars above that, then that goes to either paying off debt or investing.
Gotcha.
Right? Interest works both ways.
I'm taking notes while you're talking. Keep talking.
So if you're paying interest versus you're making interest, it's still cost, right? So if you've got a credit card that's 15% interest, and instead of paying off that credit card, you're going to go invest in the S&P 500, and maybe it does 12%. Did you really win?
No.
Maybe your bank account looks a little bit better, but did you really win? No, you didn't really win, right? It's a relatively simple math game. So when it comes to paying off debt, look at efficiencies. I would Google debt snowball. Debt snowball is one of the most effective debt payoff strategies out there. And be careful with people trying to profit off of your misfortune. Debt consolidation companies, there are some good ones, but there are also some scams. So just be really careful there, right? So build a solid foundation, pay off liabilities, debt, and then go worry about investing. Because if you can focus on building the discipline of saving, the actual rate of return will not matter.
Okay.
If you build the discipline of saving, the rate of return will not matter.
That's good.
Because if you can get the habit of saving every month, right, until you retire, whether you earn a 4% return, an 8% return, a 12% return, it really won't matter. You're going to be okay because you've built a discipline of living beneath your means, and you are now controlling your money instead of the money controlling you.
Now, what is a good savings percentage, you would say, based upon a person's income?
Like it's life to life, right? If you're a single parent with 3 kids, maybe you save less, right? But if you're a dual income household with no kids, maybe you can save more.
Okay.
I always strive to get above 20%. So for clients, having the right accountability program, right? With most of our clients are business owners, and with business owners, they have fluctuating income. They could have a good quarter, they could have a bad quarter. So it's really difficult for us to say, hey, Derek, I need you to save $3,000 a month every month, 12 months in a row. Well, you're going to have a good quarter, you're going to have a bad quarter. So what we do is we say, okay, save something every month, $500 a month. And then every quarter, as your accountability partner, I'm going to call you and I'll say, hey, how was your quarter? Did you have a good quarter? You're like, yeah, I had a great quarter. Here's an extra $2,000.
Gotcha.
Ultimately, understanding what your goal is, right? Beginning with the end in mind and reverse engineering back to today is where you really start to win. And not to keep rambling, but that takes us to another topic of intentionality, right?
Okay.
Success with money requires intentionality, right? Discipline and intention. And I think when it comes to intentionality, it's all about planning. It's all about thinking about, here's where I want to be, and I'm going to be intentional with my choices, intentional with my actions to get myself there, whether it's with sports, whether it's with relationships, whether it's with money. I think intentionality is the biggest concept to success in money talks.
And this is amazing because I like the word intentionality. When I think about people who get increases on their jobs. So they're working, maybe they're making $60,000 a year. All right. So they got this promotion. And most people who get promotions don't tend to see their lives promoted because they automatically go out and spend their promotions, but their bottom line of their bank account does not change. And I think that's something that we have to be more intentional about, because whatever you don't plan to do with your money will plan to do for itself. So if you don't plan to put money to the side and name it, I like to name my money. When it comes in, I say, yeah, this is that money. You know, it's not just a check that I cash. I name the money and I put money in certain places because I'm working on making sure that when I'm ready to touch the name, I'm ready to fulfill the assignment with it. Because a lot of times, and I tried this for years, I just used to group all my money together. And man, that money, it went everywhere. Like something came up. The kids need a new pair of shoes, or, hey, by the way, let's go to this concert, you know, or, hey, the Magic, they may win this game, and so let's try to buy these tickets, you know. That was never the case. But, you know, just different things was always coming up. But I had to start saying, you know what? No, this money belongs to that. I remember I was reading a book. I forgot who wrote it. But they was naming their money like things. So, for instance, they wanted to buy a house. They would name the house maybe Charlie. So instead of them going out with their boys, they'd be like, no, I got to give Charlie $50. So, you know, I got to give Charlie $100. And they're like, who is Charlie? Charlie was the project they was working on to accomplish. But they had to intentionally name their money to be for Charlie, or they was going to spend their money on all of the other activities. And a lot of people fail to do that. Shifting gears a little bit, there's a lot of money talk going on out there. You know, all the quick investments that are happening now. Also, you have, of course, everybody's still dealing with you know, the different types of currencies that are shifting now. Kind of, what's your perspective of that right now?
I'm not very bullish on the overall economic environment. With a lot of our clients, we're having conversations on preparations for some sort of bad economic cycle. And I don't want to be like a scare tactic or that kind of an individual, but I do think we are in a season that is very frothy. I think we're in a season of money being spent rapidly without a lot of planning or intention. I think there's much more money in the economy overall, right? So I think there's spending happening. I think there's a lot of get rich quick. I wouldn't call them schemes, but schemes.
I understand.
So and a lot of them are real. Like if we think through some of the NFTs, right, Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies altogether, those are real opportunities where a majority will fail and a minority will gain. Right? And during these periods of times where you have inconsistencies, you have lack of foundational principles taking into play, right? The economic cycles that we're in aren't really following some of those foundational principles. So in my opinion, I think it is time for caution, right? As one of the bests in my industry have said it, Warren Buffett, just when you be fearful when others are greedy, and be greedy when others are fearful. Yeah. Right? And economic downturns can be very bad, but that's also when a lot of the wealth in the United States and just overall economy transfers. So what I'm preparing my clients for is opportunities. So with clients, I'm having the conversations of, yes, should we invest systematically? Yes. But more importantly, you're a business owner. Why don't we just play a little bit safer right now and get prepared for an opportunity? Because similar to what happened with COVID, a lot of business owners weren't able to stay open. So what we did is, okay, hey, listen, in this period of time, there's going to be some decisions that you make, but the decisions I want you to make is to be very careful and prepare for the opportunity to gain market share.
Yeah.
So in the overall, I would say the big picture, I think if you had a theme in mind, it would be preparation. The theme of, let's not go buy a new car right now because I want to make an impulsive decision, or new shoes. If I can be conservative today, I'm going to be conservative today because I want to be prepared to take advantage of the right opportunities when this thing turns.
Yeah. And I'm looking at the housing market, man, and I'm seeing just how the other day I think I saw a report in the Orlando area, and it was talking about just how many people don't have, like how the availability of housing is so scarce right now. And because the housing market is so scarce, the prices of inflations are crazy. Man, I just recently heard a team of realtors that were talking along with a few lenders. They were talking about the fact that they can very well see another crash happening as of what we saw back in 2007s. They can see this crash happening again for the housing market because people are literally like the other day I was talking to one of the members, and they said, they put a bid in for this house, and they put a bid in the first day the house came out, and it was 17 bids on the same house within that moment. And they no longer sold the price of the house for what it was costing, but instead they put them into basically an auction. And we're seeing that now with new builds now. So you're seeing certain builders who are saying you can't, back in the day, you could go put $10,000 down and that secured your lot in your building piece until you got funding later. No, now they're saying, no, we're not doing that anymore. We want to see more money down, and you're going to go into a pool to auction on this house. And with those type of inflations taking place, and people still trying to move down here, and that's a whole different conversation. We get into how the Northerners can afford a lot more than the Southerners because of the pay that takes place. So another one of my homeboys who is a realtor, I was saying, man, how expensive this house was. He was like, yeah, I know, that's real high. And he was like, but I just sold 3 of them to one person. And I said, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, the dude was in New York. And he says, I'm moving down, but my job is still going to be in New York. And I want 1, 2, and 3, give them all 3 to me in a row. And where people in Florida was trying to figure out, can we negotiate the price? They're willing to pay, larger money because they're making more there. So it's becoming a very challenging market, man. And I love what you said when you said that the majority will lose, the minority will win. And I don't think we think that way a lot. We all spend a lot of time gambling on ourselves. So we spend a lot of time gambling on ourselves. Yeah, man. So it's just amazing how, things are just changing so much. It's unpredictable. But this is one of the reasons why we definitely need financial advisors and planners, people like yourself. And I want to give you kudos, man, because you do a lot for the community as well. You've been consistent with us with Seasons Blessings. I've never, ever asked you for anything. And your heart didn't say, let's make something happen, from kids to adults. It's just been amazing to see just how you have grown. Real quick, talk to me a little bit about Claudio. Talk to me about, how do you become you?
It's a great question. I'm a big believer in intentionality and preparation, right? So as we talked through today, and every year I break out the year into 12-week sprints. So there's a book called The 12-Week Year by Brian Moran, great book, 12-Week Year. And it talks about how we as business owners, we tend to just get the year started, and next thing you know it's April and you're a little bit behind on your goal or whatever you're trying to accomplish. Then it's June and it's October, and then you push as hard as you can, and Q4 is your most productive one because there's a deadline, right? There's a finality to it. Mm-hmm. So what we've done is taken preparation to a whole nother level. I have 12-week years, so I have these 12-week sprints with 1 week off. In that week off, I take time to refocus and take time to prepare for my next 12 weeks. So I have 4 deadlines in a year. Okay. When my competition, right, which is the old version of me, maybe has 1. And I also take intentionality very seriously when it comes to my time, because I want to know exactly how many minutes I'm working and what I'm being able to produce in those specific minutes. So I don't think through hours, I don't think through days, I think through minutes. And to me, that's been one of the biggest cheat codes in productivity in my business and personal life.
That's huge.
And every 12 weeks, there's a subset of goals, personally, professionally, financially, spiritually, and physically, right? And I look at areas of my life, whether it be my relationship or my financials or my business, and I grade them and I reverse engineer them to actions that I can take on a daily basis to better them.
Gotcha.
So let me give you a great example. My wife's pregnant. Not sure if I even told you this, nope. But we got another girl coming.
Awesome.
Yep, that's going to be fun.
It's your third, right?
Third girl.
Yeah.
So she needed a little bit more loving, right? And her tank was a little empty. I'm working a lot. So we talked through it. And the way that I can show love to her is by cleaning up and doing the dishes, okay?
Okay.
So every day I have a scorecard that I have to catch her doing something right, and I have to spend 30 minutes cleaning.
Wow.
And to me, being a performance-driven individual, I have a little check mark. I get a check mark on the catching right, and I get a check mark on cleaning.
Wow.
And that's just me being intentional about working on the aspects of my relationship.
That's huge.
And same thing in the business side, right? For me to hit some of my business goals, I have to reach out to someone in the country that is of a certain net worth, and I have to reach out to one of those every single day. That doesn't mean I have to schedule the meeting. That doesn't mean they have to say yes to me. But I'm doing the activity intentionally on the areas that I can control.
That's huge.
So I'm super intentional around actions and time and minutes so that I ultimately get to live my life by my design.
That's good. That's good. I love that. Man, that's huge. That not only is that intentional, that's discipline. And that's a muscle that a lot of us need to work on, just to become more disciplined and more intentional about where we want to be. It's a similar discussion I had with my son when he went off to school. He's at Florida A&M now, a freshman. And so I said to him, he was talking about what he wants to major. And I said, don't talk about your major, talk about your lifestyle. So how do you want to live? If you want to live at this lifestyle, You can't major in this. You need to major in this over here. And so if we base our life on where we want to be, we'll start making choices on what we need to do.
And on top of that, I'm a huge believer in just dreaming big.
Yeah.
I don't think people give themselves the room to dream big enough. And we have a rule at the house and at the office that if we aren't laughing at you because you're dreaming so big it sounds ridiculous, you're not dreaming big enough.
That's huge.
So we just stretch our abilities to really think big and dream big of what can be accomplished.
I love that. I love that. If we're not laughing at you. I was in church and I said one time that God is going to bless you so big that people are going to laugh at you. And that's where we have to be, just thinking big. I love it. Man, every time as we wrap up, we always have this segment where we highlight people. We highlight people doing good, people who are really making a difference, or people who have poured into us or honored us. You know, who would you highlight today?
There's a lot. But if I had to pick one person that's outside of my immediate like love circle, business partner, wife, would be my life coach. So he's out of St. Louis. His name's Ben Newman. He's been my coach for 2013, so going on 8 years now. Drastic change, not only in the trajectory of my business, but just how I think, and having someone that you can be accountable to, that you can talk to, that when you're having a bad day, they can lift your spirits, but when you're not following through, they can also call you out. Right? I'm supposed to be doing 100 workouts in a row, like 100 days in a row. I'm going to work out every day. And on day 18, I missed it. And instead of him saying, hey, don't worry about it, he's like, who are you letting down? You're not letting me down. You're letting your wife down. You're letting your kids down. So it's like one of those people that like you can really speak in your life. So that's my spotlight for today.
That's awesome.
Is that kind of individual that can make a real change in my life. So Ben Newman, that's who it would be. That's
awesome. So, man, we're wrapping up today. It's been a great show. I appreciate you coming in, Claudio. Tell everybody how they can reach you.
Yeah, so GFG Solutions. So Gambin Financial Group is our firm, and GFG Solutions on Instagram at GFG Solutions or gfgsolutions.com. Claudio at GFG Solutions. So it's all GFG Solutions. Feel free to reach out if you have a question. We have several advisors of the firm that can help when it comes to any of this sort of stuff. So please feel free to reach out, and I'm happy to help.
And he keeps saying the firm, y'all, but Claudio has a whole concierge going on now. So no matter what you need, you can reach out to them. Great people. Your staff is amazing as well. And if you ever get a chance to go to the office and check out this fish tank, this is amazing that he has. Literally, like his swag and his style comes out in everything he does. Man, I really do appreciate you. I thank you for coming on today and closing out this final episode with us as we talk unscripted. Listen, don't just talk money. Connect with people who know money so that you can reach every goal that you have in the future. So I hope that you all have already joined in with our YouTube page. If not, go check us out, the YouTube page. Follow us on all of our social media platforms as well. Make sure you ring the bell. Ding, da, ding, 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 ding. I do it every time. They say I'm country. They say it's also lame. But hey, ring the bell, man, so you can get all the updates when they first come out. Every Friday, we drop 7 a.m. Friday mornings. Listen, this is the conclusion of this season, and we're going to be back shortly, so be on the lookout because next year is going to be blazing as well. I love y'all for real, so make sure that you take care of yourself. You know why? Because you matter. God bless.